other houses that have like. Okay.
I know that you all are so super excited to be here on the urban farm. So what is truly living well? We are an urban agriculture center, basically. Lots of learning happening here, lots of projects happening here, lots of volunteer and partnership opportunities happening right here on this gorgeous farm. We're located, of course, in the west side of Atlanta. Right down the street is Morehouse College, as well as Spelman University in Canopy. So, what do we do here every single day? We basically function off of having literally over 6,000 to 10,000 volunteers that come through every single year. So the 6,000 to 10,000 volunteers that we had last year was actually as a result of the pandemic. But sometimes we can have up to 30,000 volunteers that come through for the entire year. So, of course, we have volunteers over here today. So what do? When they come, they help us with all kinds of things. Anything from mulching to harvesting, planting. Someone painted this pod. There's some volunteers that created an actual stage back here. Volunteers came and created these pergolas. All kinds of things. So volunteers came and created these beds. So many various different things that kind of come and happen on the farm. So it's kind of like, oh, they're just not doing plants. But then, of course, we have opportunities where people come and actually learn how to plant. Even if you don't know how to plant, we'll teach you, and volunteers are able to do that. We have tons of food that is on the farm. Chives. And, of course, you know, chives are basically onions. This is actually a purple chive. So you see the purple flower at the end. All of that is edible. So if you were to pull the chive, you'd be able to eat the purple part and the green part. And if you've never had a chive on the farm, you're more than welcome to pull something off and taste it. Some people probably have never even eaten food off of the farm without having to wash it, but you really sometimes do not have to wash the fruits and vegetables. Wettest part of the farm, and if you look right behind you, this plant here is actually a plant that will only grow in wetlands. So what's interesting about that again is that it's actually growing on the farm, and it is a wetland plant. So if you're from Florida, you'll be like, why is that on the farm? That's why, because this is the wettest area on the farm. I think they may have already harvested all of the zucchini, but we're doing about 50 to 100 pounds of zucchini every single week. So this is something, anytime you see a flower, you'll see this is a working-nut squash. Anytime you see a flower, the flower is actually going to turn into the actual vegetable. But you can also eat the flower. So that's something really, really good. Yes. So basically we are growing food in water. And unfortunately, everybody want to come on in? So growing food in water is like a whole process. You can take literally anything that you have eaten and put it in water and it'll develop its own root. So these are our infamous banana trees. And again, what we do is we originally started off with maybe about 3 or 4 banana trees. And basically what we do is we take a portion of it out and just replant it. And again, this is why we have so many banana trees. A lot of people think that banana trees can't grow here in Georgia, but really it's about making sure that they remain moist. So as you can see here, hopefully we'll be having some bananas cropping up soon. Y'all can come on in.
Really? Yeah.
Earlier this year, so some of these plants are from the plant sale. This is chamomile. We're drying it all the way out, and then of course we'll make chamomile tea with it. But again, what we do is take some of the fruits and vegetables, stick it in a container, and we regrow it. So sometimes people want to grow things from a seed, and that is okay, but you have to know where your seeds come from. Have they properly been germinated and things like that? And usually it takes twice as long from a seed. So say for instance you're eating a green onion and you're like, you know what, I want to make some green onions and put some in my salad. Go ahead and take the bottom part of that green onion, either do what, stick it in water, or stick it in some dirt and water it. It will start all over. This is a bell pepper, and then we have jalapeno peppers. Okay. This is eggplant here. You'll see a baby eggplant right here. Yeah. Yeah, all of these are going to grow really, really big. Right, so the Treehouse Project is a collaboration, of course, between ourselves and Westminster School. The middle school students there in their architecture class actually created this. And so they came out and built this for us. So to talk about research projects, if anyone is interested in doing a research project, whether it's, and it doesn't have to necessarily be totally farm, but say for instance, hey, you know what, I would love to build a shed or a greenhouse or something that I want to see what happens with the light. You're more than welcome to come to Truly Living Well. If you wanted to do something again with irrigation, Truly Living Well. If you wanted to do something with plant forms or tree life or anything that you see out here, everything has a connection to something. So we welcome research projects. We'll let you come onto the farm, do your project, make your work. We'll sign off on things, but this is a great opportunity and a great space that you can do research projects here. And of course, we also have the SLS partnership, one of the terms that we use so much. But we do have partnership opportunities where if you wanted to come and partner with us, whether it's as an individual, you have a group or organization that you're also a part of, you're more than willing to do that also. And what happens with our partnership is, of course, we just find angles in which we have synergies, and we work on that partnership basically. And if you see something that maybe we never have thought about, we're more than willing to accept that as well. So just want to kind of get your wheels turning. If you've never thought about, hey, I don't know if I want to be on a farm. Yes, you do want to be on a farm, because we have so many great opportunities. Yeah, so we have plenty. That's a very mushrooms here on the farm. And of course, as you know, mushrooms love the dark. So this used to be where we were developing this to be a chicken coop, but yeah, that's not what's happening. So this is actually where we were keeping our mushrooms, because again, they love the dark. So here, urban agriculture transforms both people and places into powerful catalysts for sustainable community vitality. Our work builds self-sufficiency through food production and education. This, of course, was by Rashid Nouri, who is actually the founder of Truly Living Well, who, although he's not the executive director here, he still works with us and has established other agricultural opportunities for the city of Atlanta as well as for the government. So I want you to think about any partnerships or opportunities and research projects that you want to do. Sometimes when you get in that crunch, you're like, man, I don't know what to do. Come to Truly Living Well. We'll help you with your research project, even if you can't figure it out. We have tons of things that we have to get done. If you all know any arborists, we're looking for people to help us sustain these trees, keep them, cut down. And of course, recently, one of our trees one of the limbs actually broke. So having arborists are important. If you know someone that is in architecture, having these raised beds is important, because of course when you make these beds, they have to be cedar wood, and you cannot have like any chemicals on the wood. So pre-treated wood and all of that stuff is something that you do not use in farming, specifically because whatever's on those materials go into the food as well. And I don't know if you've ever seen anyone that are growing food with tires. Do not eat that food, please. Because again, what's in the tire goes into the food, and then you'll be eating tire food. Okay, so just make sure that you understand where your food comes from and how healthy it should and can be. But we are always here. Anytime you want to come to Truly Living Well, our volunteer opportunities are Wednesday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Something also to note is that today is actually a really beautiful day to be out, but normally it's extremely hot on the farm. So always thinking about when you come out, if you want to volunteer with your friends, family, whatever, bringing a hat, making sure you're bringing water. And then if you also have a class or you're in a program where you have to have volunteer hours, this is the place to come and be.
Welcome to everybody once again. I'm Gavin McGuire. I have the pleasure of serving as the Executive Director of the Grove Park Foundation. We have 4 main pillars of impact that we look to serve the community and a whole lot of other areas that we work to support. Housing. Our first goal is just to mitigate displacement. Simple and plain, people who live here, who built the fabric of this community, how do they stay when you hear a lot of those sound bites on the news with affordable housing? And I know you may have experienced that if you're not living on campus, or your friends or family members or your brothers, siblings, or siblings who, as all college students like to do, you want to have that independence, but it's a crisis as it relates to the housing area. But instead of complaining and just watching the news and causing fear and panic, we work, and this is the leader of our housing work and a lot of many other things that we do. How do we help to educate? How do we help with home repairs? How do we help with advocacy and policy? The second area is economic mobility and workforce readiness, supporting entrepreneurs, making sure that people have access to the skills, the awareness and exposure to progress in their career, to build generational wealth.
But I want to introduce Minso.
Minso.
Come on up.
Hey, I'm a little late.
That's all right. Minso has been quite effective in helping to get everything coordinated for this event. She is one of your own, and I'll let her introduce herself and tell her a little bit about. She had to beat me up a little bit because we're a small organization and we've been extremely busy for the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks that she's been here. But we have some incredible projects. We do a lot in this organization. Some of the other organizations, not to minimize their impactful work, but we do a lot of work over several different sectors. Gavin mentioned a few of those, but we do a lot of granular kinds of things within all of those sectors that really make our work impactful and really unique and interesting. So Minso will tell you about some things that she's working on. Introduce yourself here.
Hi, my name is Minso Lee. You can see my name is Korean, so you can call me Minso, everything's fine. And I am majoring in industrial engineering. And if anyone wants to, yay, yeah.
So one person, right?
And I'm also studying industrial design as well. It's as a minor. And I am very interested in sustainable business, sustainable community development and stuff. So this place is perfect for me to work this summer. I'm really glad to be here. And let's see. So this summer I'm working on creating framework around housing, education, all the economic developments, and all that stuff. I'm trying. And also we are trying to use a lot of data. So I'm helping out to design and planning for the dashboard, so we can use the data in an efficient way in the future as well.
Was here. We had an old school. There were 2 schools in the neighborhood. There was a kindergarten through 3rd grade, and a kindergarten through 2nd, and the 3rd through 5th, I think it was. That were on this. There were in 2 footprints. One above across where we'll see the apartment project, and another school that was here. This was Carter G. Woodson, and that was Grove Park Elementary. This school closed down, the previous school that was here, and it was closed down for several years. 2019 is when we started this project. That property was demolished, and this partnership was through with the Grove Park Foundation, Atlanta Public Schools, and YMCA to bring about this new school that will now be a kindergarten through 8th grade. Again, it is a public school, meaning it's attendance zone school, but it's run by KIP. KIP is a charter school provider. Some of you are familiar with KIP, but it's the first time that KIP has come in to manage a public school. So when you walk inside, it looks just as a school for the kids in this neighborhood, but it looks like a charter school education. So not a public school education. We also have the YMCA. YMCA came in and was intended to do a wellness center, but now it's just an early childhood center. Houses about 85 kids, early childhood from 6 weeks to 6 years. So essentially, if you move into the neighborhood and you have children, you can have your child from 6 weeks all the way up to 8th grade on this one footprint. So what you all are seeing here is some of the work that some of the Georgia Tech students have done in the SLS program, and then some of the other programs as well around our stormwater issues. This neighborhood is at the top part of the neighborhood is the Proctor Creek. Proctor Creek is actually a creek that flows upstream, downstream, I can't remember now. But traditionally, historically, has two issues. One is has some sewer overflow and trash overflow that has flowed into the neighborhood over the years. That's been an ongoing issue. The other issue is that it floods. So when we have these heavy rains, you see a high level of flooding that goes on. Any number of reasons why that exists. Much of it's because of some configurations of how the stream turns and also some of the stabilization of the banks that are around those streams, and then also the access of the ease of the flow of the water as it comes through the tributary that flows south.
Chris lives on the corner, gosh, 14 years ago. And so we've grown it into, right now all these beds are actually being gardened by, or not, by a gardener. We preserve spots for community members first because it's about a version of food access, right? And so we invite our neighbors, as neighbors, to build community, to garden, but we also understand that, you know, we want to draw in the interest of other neighbors. Come here, go back there. Come here, thank you. Would you mind sticking her on her chain? Thanks. And so we also work with volunteer groups and together, and we plant along the street, kind of you pick, right? So we have a big strawberry patch. We're big on the jalapeno peppers right now. The cucumbers are just going. Roy coordinates a lot of corporate volunteer groups who help do that. To tie it into the creek, so Proctor Creek's back there. You might just want to walk and look over and see how deep it is before you leave, because what I will tell you as far as climate change and stormwater issues that we have, one of those stormwater issues is that in the last 11 years we've had a 100-year flood event that has damaged the garden.
SLS plays that role. Our two interns, our PIT students last year, Twilo and Zena, both worked on, their three objectives were around a food access dashboard for residents, two, to focus on our providers for food boxes. So we have virtually 3 providers in the neighborhood, and what is the sustainability of those food box programs and how are they impactful, where are they getting their resources. So they did a lot of research around that for us to really frame the availability of food access from that standpoint. The third food access standpoint was how do we grow our access to urban gardening? How do we grow access to food through urban gardening?
Yeah, right? Yeah, sidewalks, power line. That's the question that Freddie asked me on the first day of my internship. I was like, this and that, and yeah. This wouldn't happen if it was like rich neighborhood, right? So yeah, we are still trying to figure it out. Maybe we can help residents to move to somewhere better place and acquire all these houses and make shops maybe, or business area, or some green fields. We don't know. We have to plan for it, for the details. Yeah, this is where I wanted to put it out.
So Ms. Prime Malia, we are here to talk to you about community engagement in Grove Park. So I've been with the organization for about 6 months now, or about 8 months now. This is my friend Anthony. He works at Paul Kids, which is the organization to our back. If you don't know much about them, check out their website, paulkids.org. The thing I really want to get across to you guys is this community is about resiliency. We're trying to bring opportunities to this neighborhood that will help our neighbors grow in whatever endeavors that they're looking for. In the meantime, I want to bring people that are going to be getting the fruits of all of our labors to come and support this organization as well, to plant those seeds and help us along our path. So we have volunteer opportunities helping out with food organizations. We go to churches. We put on events that are helping our seniors. We want to make sure that our neighborhood has the items that they need in order to succeed, in order to thrive. So when you think about Grove Park, think about thriving. And when you follow us, make sure you take a look for our volunteer opportunities this year so you can sign up and come see what our neighborhood is really like. 3 acres, we did some swaps and bought some additional land. So this is the site for the low-income housing tax credit. This is Columbia Canopy Apartments. Columbia Residential is the lead partner. We're a partner to it. We sold our land into the partnership. So it's a partnership, nonprofit, private sector partnership. We're able to participate in the developer fees, which we use that money to start doing additional affordable housing. But we'll, so this project was certainly a collaboration too, engaging the neighborhood and finding out what they like. So we presented some designs, a couple of designs of like 4 color patterns, and let them decide what they thought was important. But this is 4 buildings. You guys come closer. There were 4 buildings here, 110 unit apartments, 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, garden style apartments. $24 million project. It's called the low-income housing tax credit. Meaning we got about $18 million of the project from the state. So allows that lower cost allows us to rent the apartments at a lower rate. So 1 bedrooms at 50% to 60% of the area median income start at $695 for 1 bedroom. 3 bedrooms $950 start at $950. Anywhere in Atlanta now, 1 bedrooms are $1,200. So it shows you how we can provide something to the families that are in this neighborhood. The NOW program allowed us to prepare families for this opportunity. So we have about 30 to 40 families that came through the program or in the neighborhood to make sure that we talk about displacement, that we're building properties, but we're also keeping families here as well.
And go to that. Yeah. Already? Yeah. From Portugal?